Hi guys, welcome to another craft class tutorial. Today we're making DIY sandal slippers out of regular flip-flops. These are slippers that you can wear out to the mall, you can wear them to the store, you can wear them around the neighborhood, and what's better than to make them fancy. So first things first, we're cutting out chiffon fabric. That's the lilac fabric there at that measurement, and we're going to wrap this chiffon fabric in two. So what you want to do is fold your tulle, fold your fabric inside, fold it in two with the tulle fabric on the outside. This will give a shimmery, since we're using gold tulle fabric, it will give a shimmery look to our flip-flops. So now we're just gonna hold our fabric in place so it won't shift while we sew. Hold it in place with two pins. If you do not have these pins, you can as well use head pins to hold off the outer edge of the material. Next thing would be to sew right through the middle of the length of the fabric. Make sure you anchor your thread first of all before you sew all through the middle of the fabric. Now we're done sewing, we're going to cut open the sealed or the closed end of the fabric. Once we're done with this, we would pull through the center. This gives the ruffle detail. Pull it all the way through. The more ruffles you want, the more you have to increase the length of the material. This is 42 inches, so say you want more ruffles, you can use 50 inches upwards. It depends on what you really want, but I love the fuller appearance of the slides of the sandal, so I want it to have as many ruffles as possible. When you're done gathering, take the measurements of where and how, where on the flip-flop you want your fabric to cover, just to give us an idea of how long our ruffle is going to be. In this case, I'm just going to put it on, I don't want it to cover the whole handle or the handle of the flip-flop, so I just want it to be 8 inches round. Now I'm gonna measure 8 inches. That's before knotting the thread on the other end. Measure 8 inches and pull your ruffle or gathers, pull it to that length, and then you can now finally knot, and if you like, you run your thread through one more time. But I don't want to do that, so just knot. Good, you make your knot at different points on the fabric. So you move from one point to the other while making different notches, different knots rather. Next would be to cover the straps of the flip-flop in ribbon. You can cover it in black ribbon, but I choose to use same lilac ribbon just for it to look better. Most of the time people cover with the same color of the material. If you don't have a ribbon that corresponds in color, you can cut out long strips of that particular fabric and use it on your straps. Next would be to use hot glue to attach our gathers to the straps of the flip-flop or the slipper. I think it's better to apply your hot glue on the fabric itself. Why I say this is because you can get the glue into those nooks and corners of the gathers. If you apply it on the strap instead, you risk not getting the glue to all corners of the gathers. So eventually you risk your your gathers being pulled off your strap at some point, or you risk it getting weaker on time or quicker than when you apply on the fabric itself. Now the longer the gathers stay on your flip-flops, the longer you get to use your slipper. For this tutorial, I'm not gonna apply at the tip of the V. I'm just gonna make sure the ruffles get to cover that part of the slipper. If you want your gathers to get to the tip of the V, know that that's a different style entirely. So we want a U curved shape, not a V curve. So a U is better than a V. That's just how I prefer it. If you want the V appearance, that's like making it look like you actually converted a slipper into slides, which would give off the mystery that comes, which is like, to me, the beauty of the slipper. Now we can apply glue on the V tip, on the tip of the V right there, then attach the outer ruffles of our gathers, apply it on that flip-flop so it doesn't open from time to time, just to secure it more. Now we're cutting out the felt which we would use to hold our ruffles in place. And what I'm doing is making curves on the edges because we don't want those sharp edges poking out, so we're just gonna curve it in a bit. It just adds to aesthetics. We're going to attach our felt to the bottom of the straps of the slipper. The point is this felt is going to hold our ruffles in place. It's not just enough to attach hot glue, to apply hot glue alone and think that's all you're gonna need to do. We're still going to have to attach felt fabric at the bottom. Now this felt fabric, we're going to have to cut it in the middle. Cut about an inch into your felt fabric in the middle. Why? Just for easy maneuvering, just for easy bending because of the curve on the flip-flop. Guys, please don't forget to like my videos and subscribe to my channels if you want to see more amazing videos like this. Make sure to hold on to after applying glue, make sure to hold a little bit onto the piece so that the hot glue stays on. Hot glue, while hot, doesn't attach immediately. It has to get a bit cold, so you might need to use your hands to hold a bit longer to fasten it to the other side. If not, you risk your work pulling off, so it's good you just pinch for a few seconds just to make sure the piece stays on, or that the piece is well attached to the felt fabric. The good thing about using hot glue is you get to still adjust the fabric while you're applying the glue. So this is like an opportunity to get that particular shape, that particular form that you want your slipper to take. So here I'm applying glue and still dressing up my slipper because I want it to take on a certain shape. You can't just apply your hot glue and stick it on. You should try as much as possible to dress your slipper into the form or shape which you want it to eventually take. After dressing your slipper, the next thing would be to trim edges that are sticking out. Our fabric is one that sheds a lot of thread, so we're going to trim edges first and then use our scissors to cut out loose hanging thread. Now that we're done with that, the next thing would be to use our fishing line to attach beads or embellishments to our slippers, to our slides, flippers, flip-flops, whatever. Okay, so now we're going to, first of all, I call it anchor. We're going to anchor or knot our fishing line somewhere on the felt below the main work, not above. This is so that our thread doesn't come off easily. This part is a bit hard because sometimes your needle will break, sometimes you can't pass your needle through. Oh, by the way, I'm using beading needles, which could be very tiny and fragile, so sometimes your needles won't be strong enough to pass through the felt fabric all the way up through the gathers, so you might need to use a tool. So here I'm using beading pliers so that this would, you know, help me pull through the beads, because your grip might not be strong enough to pull the needle through the material and the felt fabric. The thing about attaching your needles, or your beads rather, is you might have to pass the needle through some beads 2 times. I passed through some beads once and I passed through some beads twice. It's totally up to you, depending on how strong or how fastened you want your bead to be. So there are times where I pass the needle through the bead twice, and in this case you're just going to use some beading embroidery knowledge. The same way beading embroidery is done is the same way you're gonna do this phase. So we're just going to continue attaching our beads to the main work. I love that even though the fabric is lilac, we're able to use a combination of both gold beads, transparent beads, gold beads and gold findings, and purple beads of size 14 millimeters, I think. This just, you know, it brings out the beauty of the slipper, really. And you would want to space your beads accordingly I did this because I don't want beads lying all the way across. It's a different technique if you want beads lying all the way across the ruffles, where you sewed through the ruffles. It's a different technique entirely, but I just choose to scatter my beads all the way around. Alright guys, so this is the end of our tutorial. Please don't forget to like my videos and subscribe to my channels if you want to see more beautiful videos like this. Stay tuned, and there would be more tutorials. If you subscribe, you would find them on your notification. Thanks guys.